am a recovering social media politics junkie. I used to post a lot of political content on Facebook and Twitter, get into social media fights with complete strangers and racist uncles. You know the type. You yourself have unfollowed people just like me after the 10th post about guns, abortion, or immigration in a 24-hour period, even if you agreed. I'm happy to report I've been mostly politics clean on social media for about a year. Instead of posting, I started observing. Instead of blocking, I started refollowing those with whom I disagree. And instead of getting into comment wars, I started reading opposing viewpoints. Once free from the confines of my echo chamber and the self-induced pressure to defend my views, here's what I learned. We are not going to meme our way out of our problems. I suspected this for some time, but about 9 months ago, there was a mass shooting, and one of my liberal friends posted this meme. I thought, that's fair. But later that very same day, one of my more conservative friends posted this meme. I thought, that's fair too. But why are we using stolen images, impact fonts, and snarky one-liners to argue about complex socio-political issues? Can we agree this isn't working? It was that day I decided I would never share, post, comment on, or like another political meme again, except maybe this one. No, we are not going to meme our way out of our problems, and boy, do we have problems. Americans don't know much about history, or politics or government, the very subjects comprising civics. Only 23% of American 8th graders score at or above proficient in civics, and only 18% do so in American history. As for adults, only 1/3 can name all 3 branches of the federal government, and the same proportion can't name even one. And those numbers are really interesting when examined alongside approval ratings of those same 3 branches of government, which, by the way, are legislative, executive, and judicial. So we're frustrated with and lacking confidence in institutions about which we know very little. And it's not just rank and file Americans. Our entire political system is dysfunctional. We are seeing hyperpolarization, fractured political caucuses, and inefficient governing. And to make matters worse, there's no hiding from it. We have 24-hour cable news and a presidential election season that's a solid 8 months longer than it was in 1960 when JFK announced his candidacy just 11 months before the general election. 19 months every 4 years is a really long time to hate everyone with whom you disagree. So what can we do about it? Well, according to theonion.com, scientists recommend a controlled burn of Washington, D.C. I recommend one additional activity: more and better civic education. So does retired Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, who reminds us that civic knowledge is not passed down through the gene pool. It must be taught. That's why she founded an educational nonprofit that provides a digital, games-based curriculum to teach civics and critical thinking skills to K-12 students. And that's what she told the Florida legislature in 2010, when she urged its members to mandate a middle school civics course. Lucky for us, they listened. For the first time since the 1960s, all middle school students in Florida take civics. But we're just one of 50 states. Most others do not require a bona fide civics course. How can we expect the next generation to responsibly participate in our democratic republic if it doesn't know that we have a democratic republic? Now, I know what many of you are thinking. Wait, I took civics. You more likely took one semester of American government, and you probably took it in 12th grade. Imagine the large number of students who never take this course because they drop out before their senior year. Indeed, every year, over 1 million students drop out in the United States, and about half do so by 10th grade, before taking American history or American government. I think we can agree these students are in the greatest need of understanding their rights and responsibilities as citizens. We must teach civics. We must teach it in the lower grades, but we must teach it well, and here's what I mean. I like to ask folks to tell me about their own civic learning experiences, and this is what I often hear. That's fair, I get it. The word civics inspires memories of boring textbook readings, lectures, worksheets, and essays, but it doesn't have to be that way. Civics can mean interactive video game play, it can mean controversial social issues discussion, and it can mean action civics projects that allow students to apply what they're learning in the classroom to the communities in which they live. I'd like to focus on digital games for just a moment. I once had the opportunity to visit a first-year civics teacher during what she described as her most difficult class. She really tried to warn me. So when I arrived and I found the entire class completely engaged in the learning activity, I thought I was in the wrong room. Every single student was focusing on a computer screen, and I soon realized why. They were playing a game. The game they were playing is called Win the White House. It's sleek, it's interactive, it allows opportunities for students to personalize their experience with the game, and it's relevant to the political world swirling around all of us. No wonder the students were so engaged. Now, to be fair, there was a lot of chatter in the room, but it wasn't about Kanye's new concept album or the latest episode of The Walking Dead. The chatter was about the game itself and how complicated our election system is. Yeah, no kidding. And when the students did call out for the teacher, it wasn't to ask for the bathroom pass. It was to ask for a deeper explanation of some quirk in our electoral process. This went on for the entire class period, and when the teacher asked the students to log out, they all groaned. They were disappointed that their civics class was over. What I witnessed that day is what I like to call classroom management wizardry. It's what happens when the learning activity is so good, so engaging, that even the most boisterous of classes get with the program and become active participants in their own learning. And when matched with other powerful pedagogies, such as social issues discussion and action civics, a digital games-based curriculum can help us narrow the civic achievement gap, that unacceptable and enduring reality that white, wealthy students are up to 6 times more likely than their Black and Hispanic peers from low-income households to exceed the proficient level in civics. If students aren't offered these opportunities at school, in their social studies classrooms, where will they have them? On Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat? Even when the discourse in those spaces is thoughtful, it hardly holds a candle to the rich classroom experiences I just described. And I don't have to tell you that those online spaces rarely reflect a diversity of perspectives. The information has become so filtered that we're only presented with sources we're willing to read and people with whom we're willing to talk. And by the way, if Target could determine that a teenager was pregnant before her parents even realized it and then sent her coupons for baby items, I assure you Facebook knows that you're a Democrat. And then it tailors your content to keep you clicking through. Up until the 1960s, 3 courses in civics and government were commonplace in the American curriculum, and 2 of them focused on the role of citizens and encouraged social issues discussion. But that was over 50 years ago. Today, we're lucky if students take 1 semester of American government their senior year. I can't help but be reminded of Benjamin Franklin's famous response when asked what type of government he and the other framers created for our new nation. A republic, madam, if you can keep it. Some days, especially during presidential election cycles, I'm just not sure we can keep it. And I can't help but wonder what we should do. According to Peter Levine, professor of citizenship and public affairs at Tufts University, the definition of a citizen is someone who asks, what should we do? So what should we do? We should demand that our students take civics. We need more honest-to-God civics courses, and we need to offer them in the lower grades. Call your state legislators. And we should promote good and engaging approaches to teaching civics. Approaches like games and discussion and action civics. Approaches that we know foster critical thinking skills and civil discourse. Speaking of civil discourse, we should absolutely keep talking politics, both in person and online. Just be civil, be sincere, and please, hold the memes.